Hello, I'm Eric Olson, and welcome back to the Growing Revolution Smart Podcast, sponsored by Smart Pot, the original fabric planter. And today's guest is Jason Ryder of Thriving Design, and he invented a product called the CBITE. And along with his sister Morgan, have been diving into the lawn and garden industry solidly since 2020. And Jason's a big fan of using smart pot planters in his garden. He's a super creative, interesting guy. So we had to get him on the show. Jason, welcome to the podcast.
You, Eric. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks for your time. So, Jason, can you please explain what is the CBITE and how did you come up with it?
Sure. CBITE is a little garden clip, and it's from right here, that attaches to a standard steel garden stake of various sizes and allows you to create structures and forms of any shape you can possibly imagine. Pretty much, they connect together in 3 dimensions and create cages, lattices, and A-frames and TPs, whatever you want for your plants, as well as some of the stuff that you can see behind here. The geometries they're pretty much endless. So they're basically it's the improved tomato cage, and it allows people to build sort of with a snap, if you will.
Yeah, they can get really creative with creating trellis structures, tomato cages. How did you come up with the idea for it?
Sure. Was growing cannabis in my basement back in about 2014, and I decided I wanted a way to pre-tie off lines to garden stakes, and so I created an anchor on my 3D printer that I then decided had a lot more potential as a plant clip uh, coupler. So I just spent a month and a half modifying the design, and then shopped it around for a little while and decided that there was a market, and ended up designing a part that worked with an injection mold, and started manufacturing them and playing with the cannabis industry. And did that for a whole bunch of years, and kept in my basement and didn't really invest what I needed to, and took a pause and started a basil farm, an aquaponic basil farm, which I did for a few years prior to relaunching the company when the patent came through in 2019. I asked my sister to join me. We took the product, which we used to sell just in bulk, into a little more finished package form, and we created a plant support kit, which allows people to just grab and go and not have to worry about whether or not it fits their stakes. It has all the pieces they need to build simple frames. So with that, we launched into the larger lawn and garden market, and expanded through the last 2 years. We launched in the pandemic, basically, and are working our way up through a recession. So we have a lot of good things ahead of us. Basically, nothing stopping us from really taking the market by storm.
Yeah, I think if you can launch a company in a, questionable business environment, like that just primes you for when, the economy really does get robust for great success.
Yep.
Oh, cool. So my next question was, what were you doing before starting Thriving Design? So I didn't know that you had an aquaponics basil farm before
Yeah,
that. That's
that
that's
was
pretty
pretty cool.
cool.
We were growing basil over 4 stories with fish poop. It was really neat. We had about 4 acre equivalent in a 2,000 square foot barn being fed by goldfish and koi in a 5,000 gallon aquarium. It was a really complicated structure. It didn't fly as I'd have liked it to, as many startups do, but you gotta go for it and see what happens. And so that was part of that. Boy, I've been a librarian. I have an MBA. I'm a Peace Corps volunteer. I'm just kind of mostly always though entrepreneurial. So one thing or another, I'm starting a business, and it's usually been in the area of gardening and food, because I think it's such an important thing um, for us to focus on at this time in history. I mean, really never before have we seen so many people fed by so few people, and it's, I think, a precarious position to be in. And so having a fun gardening product and encouraging people to be creative in their gardens and grow stuff vertically in small spaces, I think is one way that we can kind of promote food security, even in a very small way. And as a benefit corporation, we also give a portion of our profits to corporations that are doing food security work, education, and gardening, and protecting the environment. So this is just, part of this kind of continuum of work that, my sister both and I have been doing in caring for the planet and wanting to grow things and loving gardening.
Well, I think when you're doing good things for, humanity and for the planet, hopefully karma is kind of working in your favor. So, and then it's funny, I literally just yesterday recorded a podcast with Milo Seamus, who is the president of Dr. Earth, and the the topic of our podcast was food insecurity. So
Never
it's
mind.
just kind of
Yeah.
very timely that we're following up with you, and that's a concern of yours because it's a concern of ours. If you've been watching the news, it's hard to avoid. Uh, so, what other products do you sell besides the
Well, I mean,
CBITE
it's probably the
product?
coolest thing that there is, but the CBITE is sold in bags of 26 and 100 in various bulk sizes, 1,000. We sell the steak kits in 6-foot variety packs here, which is our monster kit, which is for larger outdoor grows and cannabis. And we have a 5-foot garden stake that allows people to kind of get their hands into it. On the kits, we also have a little cap that are also manufactured in the U.S., like the CBITEs, that are really great because I know I myself, as a gardener, outdoors and indoors, have had lots of run-ins with sharp garden stakes. I like to cut them to build custom structures. So these caps that we sell, along with the kits and the CBITEs, really are part of a system of plant support that allows people to really build big canopies, get the light to penetrate the maximum amount of productive growth space, and really get a lot of bang for their buck when they're growing something, whether it's tomatoes or peas or cannabis or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I'm personally a big fan of your steak caps. I think a lot of gardeners have like almost poked their eye out from garden stakes or bamboo stakes because when you're standing right over it, you really don't see much of it. And if you're, lowering yourself to get a better
Mm-hmm.
perspective on your plant, it's like, yeah, there's
Oh
been
yeah,
so many close calls that I think everybody who's using stakes or anything should
we
definitely
agree.
have those caps on the end. And they're orange too. They
Mm-hmm.
stand out, against the green of our
The
plants that
ones
we're
behind us
growing.
are
So
actually
I
Indian. We
love
sell them in
your
green and orange,
products.
different colors, because not everybody wants to see them. They're soft caps too. So if you don't happen to see them and you whack yourself, you're not going to do as much damage.
Sure.
But these 5-foot stakes, oh yeah, notorious. You plant them in the ground, they're about 4 foot once they're actually planted. You lean over into your canopy space, and you don't see that until it's too late. So yeah, we really love the cap. Help a lot of people avoid.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like you can
Yep.
regrow
Plus,
an eyeball
it's
or
nice
anything
to cut
like
the
that.
stakes. I make these custom forms. It keeps them from rusting. It keeps the sharp edges from being a danger. It allows them to look a little bit nicer and cleaner when they're in the garden space. And they're cute. They got these little flowers on top of them. So yeah, you like our cats.
Yep. Yeah, they look very sharp. They're definitely good for gardeners who are concerned about aesthetics and want everything looking nice too. So, uh, where are your products
They're made
manufactured,
right
and
here
how are you doing
in
that?
this shop that I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have a couple of injection molding machines. We're running one mold right now, so we actually have capacity to make small parts for other companies while we're building towards full capacity. But we make about 13,000 CBITEs every single day,
Nice.
and we're building up to supplying um, big box stores, hardware stores around the country, garden shops, independents, and online. So we have our sights set pretty high. We've managed to grow pretty rapidly. So this year we're looking to sell probably over 4 million CBITEs, which is 4 times what we did last year, and that was 4 times what we've done in the previous all the years that I've done it prior to it. So gardening is big, and we're floating along with it, which is cool. Shaking up that
Nice.
little boring tomato cage section because it's
Yeah.
been the same thing for a lot of time, and people are not, they're limited in what they can grow inside of a tomato cage. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I've been, more or less following you guys since your inception or pretty close to it. And it's really cool to watch you guys have,
Bible steak fun,
pretty
nice. I
sharp
like that.
success. So you're doing it good. Keep it up. So how long have you been a SmartPot user for, and what do you
I
like
think
about them?
you might have noticed me back in the beginning because I was using smart pots with some of my grows. It's a lot of the qualities that you guys market out there are very obvious to somebody who grows things and gardens that those features are accurate. The aeration in the root zone, the lack of spiraling and compaction that you get inside of it. I really like growing outside with them because I see cool things like funguses growing on the surfaces of it, and I know that the roots are growing, penetrating through the pot into the ground and accessing other, you know, sources of nutrients. So I don't have to be quite so careful about, maintaining the soil in the pot zone. Root zone cool. I mean, it's just so many different things. And, every time I've grown in a smart pot, I've seen really
Yeah.
great results. So, you don't get off of a winning horse mid-race. Keep doing what works.
Yep. Smart pots are going to grow, pretty high yielding plants. And so your products, with Thriving Design go hand in hand with what we're putting together. Because if you got big yields, you don't want those branches snapping
Well,
and
you
breaking.
make
You
such a
should
great
plan ahead and
Yeah, you make
support
such
them.
a great point too. Is that
Yep.
so many people who, let's take cannabis as an example for the smart pots, is that they grow a high yield plant. Many of these states have requirements on what you're allowed to grow and how many you're allowed to grow them. So I've always been of the mindset that I want to grow a really big plant, and a smart pot was a great way to do that because then I can stay within the legal limits and still maintain that, giant lush garden space that I want to have. Which, it's a lot of fun to grow a lot
Oh
of
yeah. Yeah. Up in Humboldt and in the Emerald Triangle, those guys,
monsters.
like a decade ago, it was not uncommon to see like a 6, 7, 800 gallon smart pot, and then it's like 15
Mhm.
feet tall. So I think growers are generally kind of going with smaller smart pots these days for
Mhm.
commercial, because now it's more about your
Yes,
canopy size versus your
that's
plant
right.
counts. Um, so you've been working with your sister at Thriving Design. How has that been
It's
going?
great. She and I have managed to come together and build a really groovy little company together that we're both very proud of. And you know, like every sibling, we have our dysfunction, but it's actually an opportunity for us to work through them. We face each other every day. We're professionals, and it's wonderful. It's actually been the best experience I could have hoped for out of this with her because we get along. We talk to each other every day. We've got a common cause. We're feeling the high of being successful, which is really wonderful, and sharing that together, which every team likes. So it's great.
Yeah, yeah. She's a super nice woman, and yeah, she seems to be a great business, business
Smart.
person. So
Yeah, yeah.
she's in the right spot for you guys for sure. Yeah, hopefully we could get her on a future podcast because I'm sure she's got some great perspectives on environmental
Yep,
stewardship and
yep.
all that good stuff too. Um, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced as a
Well,
company?
I think it's very challenging to introduce a new product that kind of defies category. It's not like we have something that people are familiar with. When they first see it, they have to be educated first as to what it is, and then they have to understand how it works and why it might be beneficial to them. Once they get that part of it, it's really easy. But it's an uphill climb for us when we were not able to get in front of people with all the cancellations that happened in 2020. It was slow going, so it's really 2023 that's going to be our biggest opportunity to hit all the trade shows with all of our dealers and distributors and make the sort of splash that we were hoping to in 2021. So, things have been just a little bit slow in terms of us ability. I mean, that's just me being impatient too, and we've done so much in the short time that we've done it. So I guess I can't complain too much. And every business has challenges. It's the same thing that we all face.
Launching, yeah, launching a business during the pandemic must have been definitely tough. I know we had to totally switch gears on how we conducted our sales, and luckily I think we did a pretty good job of doing it. And then plus it helped that everyone got into their garden in 2020, and uh, Sales were up for us, but
Yeah,
we
yeah.
definitely saw a lot of challenges. Now, where can people find
Yeah,
your
sure. Thank you for
products?
asking. CBITEs are available at Fred Meyer's up in Northwest. We're in lawn and garden centers around the country right now. I, we're working towards seeing ourselves in Tractor Supply Company next year, and obviously they're online at our website, Thrive and Design, and
Nice.
on Amazon as well. So yeah, we're trying to make them easy for people to find. If you don't see them in your local garden center, of course, we hope that you ask them to carry us because that's our distribution strategy. I think that's how we get our product in the most hands and get people really excited about it and get sort of buzz that we want going as users. So please ask for them if you don't have them in your community. Plus, it saves on shipping, and that's better for the environment. And we like people to support local businesses, so wins everywhere that way.
Yeah, we're of the same mindset. We would, we have smart pots available on our website, but we love the independent garden centers and hardware stores that carry our products, and we would rather see, people support the mom and pop shops, the brick and mortar stores. Do you guys have a dealer
No,
locator
not
on
yet.
your website by
Not
any
yet.
chance,
We'd
or
like
no?
to. At this point in time, we're
Right
scrambling
on.
so fast we don't even know all the dealers who carry us, to be honest with you. Which is,
Yeah, yeah, we're in the same boat. Sometimes I'll walk into a new garden center that I've never been
yeah,
in,
same
and
guys. Yeah,
I'll see a
great.
smart pot section, and it
Hmm. Hmm.
just makes my
Yep,
day when
yep.
I see that. Nice. So, how can people get in touch with you
Sure.
and find you on
There's a
social
couple of things
media?
going on. We have obviously Facebook and Instagram at Thriving Design. We have a WeFunder campaign, which is great because we are scaling so rapidly, and we're in a seasonal business where, there's some cash flow hurdles that we're trying to overcome. So you can go to wefunder.com/thriving design, and there's a good place to actually hear about our company story and see some of the successes that we've had. If you want to follow us along, then you go to our Instagram, the Facebook pages, and then, we'll kind of catch up on the day to day. And then I also have a page where I shoot all these crazy structures. I build these things in 3 dimensions. This one's a little it's triangular bi-pyramid. So we make all the platonic solids. And hold on, here's another one. I do this at CBITE_guy, right? These things are kind of fun. So I have to show off the potential of the clip because, like I say, there's trillions of possibilities with the six, and Lego only has like 900 million. So we've got some beat.
Well, I mean, your designs that you come up with on your CBITE guy page are really cool and creative, and it just shows you must be a creative guy in general, because I wouldn't be able to come up with something that cool. So
So like Steve Martin, I'm a wild and creative guy.
nice. Uh, Jason, on that note, that was all the questions that I had today. So, as trade show season is approaching, hopefully we'll get to run into each other
Yeah, yeah.
and see each other in person again. So, until
Well,
then,
well,
thank you very much for joining us on the Growing Revolution podcast.
thank you, Eric. Everybody buy Smart Pot. See bites.
That's
Take care.
right.